want to read a list of ideas to you. Clear vision, big thinking, hard work, direct communication, resilient problem solving, open-minded curiosity, a commitment to giving back. Those words are actually the themes in Arnold Schwarzenegger's book, Be Useful. Those themes, though, to me, are very much metaphysics, are very much what the tools and the practices and the principles of unity and the science of mind are all about as well. Having a vision, thinking big. We were talking about that last week. We're going to be looking at hard work today, the idea of direct communication, of resilient problem solving, of open-minded curiosity, of giving back. This is part and parcel, I think, of personal growth, of spiritual maturity, of spiritual progress. So regardless of whether you're a fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger or not, the themes are really pertinent, and I'm pulling from them in this series. One of our members shared with me last week that she had gotten the book, and she said, "I'm so glad I'm listening to you because I can take your version of it better than the book." So if you're reading the book and it's kind of off-putting to you, or if you, like me, were listening to the Audible book, imagine hearing it through Arnold's accent and with his power and emphasis, and you may feel drawn to it or repelled by it, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, and kind of listen in as I share with you what I think about these practices and how important and practical they still are today. Hard work doesn't sound very glamorous, does it? Doesn't sound like, putting your body in a wonderful hammock and just swinging back and forth on a sunny day. And while there's absolutely time and need for us to be able to rest and replenish and relax, there is an awful lot to be said of the importance of approaching our lives with consistent effort, of putting in the time, putting in the work to do and to achieve and to become what we feel we have been put here to do and be and achieve and become. I don't think there's any substitute for working hard and working consistently. It's something that nobody else can do for us, right? We might be able to pay others to do lots of things that we either don't have the time to do or don't want to do or choose not to do. And that's wonderful if we can do that, if we can pay for different products and services and so forth. But there are certain things that are ours to do, and growing and evolving and putting forth the consistent effort and discipline toward those goals and things that are important to us. Nobody can do that for us. There's no substitute for us. To me, the idea of working hard towards something that's really important to you, whatever that may be, it may be in your personal life, it may be in your business life, it may have to do with community service, whatever that is, the idea of working hard and working consistently means there are going to be days and times where you'd rather not do it at all, right? Where you'd rather not do it at all. I don't remember the exact words of this quote that I heard a long time ago, but the essence of it has stuck with me ever since I first heard it. And it was the idea that a professional, in whatever realm of life you use that word, a professional is one who keeps doing what needs to be done long after the initial mood passes. Long after the initial mood passes. So whether that's achieving a particular goal or some project that we're working on or some self-improvement aspect that we're working toward, the consistent effort long after that initial mood passes is what I think puts us over the finish line. It's what differentiates us from just thinking we're going to accomplish something to actually being able to accomplish it. Even in the Bible, and we don't go to the Bible a lot in Unity. We don't take the Bible literally. We do not see it as the inerrant word of God. And yet we do recognize that in it, both in the Old Testament and the New Testament, just as is true in all sacred religious texts, there are ideas of wisdom. There are stories that we can learn from and benefit from. Here are just a few verses in the Bible that talk about this idea of work. The first is from Proverbs. Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. Words written thousands of years ago. Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. Would you not say that that's still true today? I think it is. Another one from Proverbs. Do you see someone skilled in their work? They will serve before kings. They will not serve before officials of low rank. Would you not say, we wouldn't use the same exact words, right? We wouldn't be talking about kings, but the essence of it is still true. Do you see someone skilled? When we're skilled in our work, it's going to propel us forward and upward. Or this from Galatians, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. I love the words, let us not become weary in doing good. And we could take that on all different levels, good toward our own goals and our own desires to achieve, good for the sake of just doing what we believe is honest and noble and true and ethical and right, regardless of whether everybody else is doing it or not, right? Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time, we will reap a harvest. There will be a benefit. There will be good that comes back to us. Practice, preparation, hard work. Turn those words over in your own mind. Practice, preparation, hard work. Think of an area of your life where you have done this. It may be a hobby of yours. It may be something in your work life. It may be in school. It may be in your family dynamics. Practice, preparation, hard work. How many of you enjoy the music of Beyoncé? Quite a few of you. Even if you don't enjoy the music of Beyoncé, I bet you have heard of her, right? She's famous for her intense rehearsal schedules. Before a tour, she's known to spend as much as 11 hours practicing and rehearsing every single part of that routine before she goes on stage. Have you heard the name Simone Biles, the gymnast? Amazing, right? Amazing. Would you be surprised to learn that she puts in 30 hours a week practicing the same kinds of routines over and over and over and over again? Works with sports psychologists, works on the mental aspect, not just the physical aspect. If you're a basketball fan, LeBron James, right? How many times does he practice the same kinds of moves, the same kinds of throws or dribbles or going from one end of the court to the other over and over and over and over again? I put in my notes as I was going over this last night, the funny thought crossed my mind. I wonder if Jesus practiced the Sermon on the Mount. Now, I don't believe that Jesus actually gave the Sermon on the Mount the way that it is laid out in the Gospels. I think he probably said those things and taught those things, but I don't think it was necessarily a neat little packaged sermon that he gave, but it's how it has come down, down to us. If you've been reading the book or listening to the book Be Useful, you've probably heard Arnold Schwarzenegger say that in his bodybuilding career, there was a chunk of time where he would work out twice a day, several hours in the morning, several hours at the end of the day, and needed 2 sets of training partners because nobody could keep up with him. Crazy, crazy. Or the famous jazz musician, John Coltrane, would sometimes spend 10 hours, it's reported, rehearsing one note to get it just right. There are stories that that he practiced for so long and so diligently that there were times that his wife found that he had fallen asleep with a mouthpiece in his mouth, right? Preparation, practice, hard work. Preparation, practice, hard work. In each of those examples, I think we can kind of pull out that there are certain common elements that no matter what it is that we might want to achieve, whatever it is we're wanting to get better at or work toward or accomplish, that there are certain common elements in the routines that I just shared with you of those people who have excelled in their fields. One is consistency of practice. Think about meditation for a moment. Meditation is a practice, right? And like anything, think about yoga. Yoga is really, the physical forms of yoga today are super popular, especially with younger people. It's the way that many younger people are getting into spiritual practice and spiritual growth. They're not coming to the churches of their moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas. They're wanting something, I think, a little bit different. Maybe they're wanting to experience some of these spiritual concepts in their body, not just sitting as we are right now, listening in this format. But whether it's yoga or meditation or playing a perfect note on a saxophone or being able to really, what's the term in basketball when you keep sinking the ball into the hoop? I'm not a basketball fan or knowledgeable person, but I know that in each of these things, that consistency of practice is an element that's so important. Why is it that some people are so good at worrying? They practice it really well, like it's a religion, and they get really, really, really good at it. How about negative thinking? Would you not say that the same could be said? We can be practicing negative thinking in the same way that we could be practicing positive thinking. We can be practicing meditation, or we can be practicing worry and fear, right? And part of our teaching is that in order to change anything that we're doing, we have to what? First, become aware that we're doing it, and then be aware that there is a different choice we can make, right? And then in that moment between stimulus and response, or in that gap between doing the thing that is not so helpful, let's take worrying or negative thinking for a moment, we catch ourselves in that gap, we do what? We make a different choice. We make a different choice. We say, oh, wait a minute. I can, instead of being worried right now, I can try to withdraw my attention from that thing that I'm telling myself might happen to maybe just focusing on my breath, to maybe just reminding myself that at least in this moment right now, I am what? I'm okay. At least in this moment right now, I am okay. So consistency of practice. Truth is, for most of us, we're always practicing something. It's just that we may not be practicing the kinds of things that are going to really benefit us emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and in really any other way. There's a certain focus on the fundamentals. You know, I think of musicians. I think of JR. I don't know where he is in the room, but I think of JR, and I think of the keyboard and the piano. And I imagine that he still practices from time to time the scales, the very basics, the very, very basics. When I used to ice skate, it bored me, but I had to grow up before I could really understand why my teacher kept having me go back to practicing basic things, stroking, edges. What does a young gymnast want to do? What does a young figure skater want to do? They don't want to do that. They want to jump and spin and twirl and do all that stuff. But all that stuff rests upon a solid foundation. The same is true for us in any area of our lives. There are foundational principles and skills to communication. There are foundational principles and skills to better relationships, to success in business. You pick any area, as a teacher, as a parent, as a partner. There are skillful ways of doing that and being that, and what? Unskillful ways. And as we understand what the fundamentals are in whatever area we want to improve in, if we build on those fundamentals and make them really solid and don't think that we're above practicing them anymore, we will find that we continue to improve at whatever it is. There's a certain element of mental preparation in each of those individuals that I shared a moment ago. So whether it's what they do on the basketball court or on the balance beam or on stage with the microphone, there's all those things, but there's also the mental preparation. And that's nothing new to us in metaphysics, is it? We believe strongly in the power of the mind. We believe strongly in the power of consciousness. We believe strongly in holding as best we can the image, the picture of what it is we want to do or be or have in our minds so that we can find ourselves directed more toward that on a consistent basis. Another element I think they share in common is attention to detail. I can't imagine spending 10 hours trying to perfect one note, right? But man, I bet that one note is amazing. So there's an attention to detail, so that when the doors open, when the curtain rises, when it's showtime, that person who is prepared, who has practiced, who has put in the effort and the work, they're ready. And what do we say of people who are really at the top of what they do? When you think of Simone Biles and like her routines, or you think of the most amazing basketball game, or you think of an amazing diver jumping off that high board in the Olympics, and when they nail it, what do you see besides the excellence? It probably looks easy or effortless, right? Or when a singer or performer has just done such an excellent job that they actually pulled you into their energy of doing what it was that they were doing. And when they're done, you feel like, wow, not only was it amazing, but they made it look so easy, was it? No, maybe in that moment, what we saw was the result of what? All of that practice. There is a movie, actually there's 3 of them, but I like the first one best of all, that you might find amusing when I tell you it is one of my favorite movies. The Karate Kid. If you've not ever seen the movie The Karate Kid, I invite you to go rent The Karate Kid. And one of the things I love about that movie is that scene of him with the windows and on the floor and wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off, and Mr. Miyagi, and just that the whole mindset of everything that young boy was being told he had to do over and over and over and over until it became what? Automatic. It became muscle memory. And then there was that point in the movie where he got to actually use what it was that he had been practicing and didn't really understand when he was first practicing it. In fact, thought he was being used and taken kind of like, I'm your helper to do all these things around your property. I don't want any of this. And then there's that moment, right? Wax on, wax off, where it all comes together, that practice, that preparation. I don't know what it is that you want to be even better at than you're already. Maybe it is to be the very best parent you can be, the very best teacher you can be, the very best singer you can be, the very best musician you can be, the very best friend you can be. even in those areas where it's not as obvious, like it's obvious in music, it's obvious in sports, the consistent practice and the fundamentals and so forth. But even in the areas where it's not as obvious, being that really great parent or being that really great friend, there are skills to know, to get better at, to be able to do and show up as a phenomenal friend, as a phenomenal parent. So it's learning what those are and then consistently practicing them, preparing. I'm listening to a book right now that you might, I listen to a lot of books, that you might enjoy, especially if there's any part of your life where you'd like to be a better communicator. The name of the book is Say More, and it's by former White House correspondent or press secretary Jen Psaki. And one of the things that I was taken by in listening to her is it was like a breath of fresh air. It was like a moment of, okay, I'm not as crazy as people maybe think I am, or as sometimes I thought I am, because she shares quite a bit about how much she would practice before every press conference, before every kind of interview, to really make sure that she was as prepared as she could possibly be. And she's a real strong proponent of preparation, no matter how good you are at something. And where I took such validation for that is you will find me every single Saturday, sometime around 3 o'clock, sitting in some area of my house with this notebook, with my notes, going over, putting my book together, refreshing my memory, criticizing what I've put down, changing what I've put down, trying to be as prepared as I possibly can to be with you and give you the best of what I have to offer. And thank you. I didn't share it for that reason. But I'm in my 44th year of ministry now, and I'm still doing this. And I know colleagues that tease me and they say, you can wing it. I think you deserve something better than me just winging it. You deserve me being prepared. I believe I owe that to you. You trust me with your time, whether it's online or here. I need to show up prepared. The same thing is true for you in whatever area of your life others are counting on you for. Whatever that is, to be as prepared as you possibly can be. So I want to kind of wrap this up with, it's called doing reps, right? Like if you're in the gym, there are certain routines you have and certain repetitions that you do over and over to build both muscle memory and to get better at whatever it is you're trying to get better at. My reps for like Sunday morning is all the research I do initially, and then the fact that I go over my notes every single day, and I have done that for 44 plus years. I read it to myself. I put my book together, blah, blah, blah. I know what my reps are for this part of my job. What are the reps that you need to be doing? And maybe you're doing them. But if you're not, or if you're not doing them consistently, if you're thinking that, oh, well, you can wing it, I want to challenge you and say, maybe you could wing it, but wouldn't you enjoy getting even a little bit better at whatever that is in your life? Just for your own sake. Doesn't it feel good when you're able to do something a little bit better today than you did maybe last month or last year? Whatever that is. Whether it is how you work out in the gym, or that you were more patient driving, that you didn't flip anybody off, that, those are wins. Believe me, those can be wins for some people, right? Right? Whatever it may be, to be able to look back and say, I set a goal for myself there, and I visualized it. I did my best to consistently practice it. I put in the effort. I put in the reps. And you know what? I'm a little bit better than I was this time last year. I think that's an exciting part of life. I've never understood people who don't have a desire to grow and to improve. I think that's what we're put here to do. And that's not to say that who we are right now, that there's anything wrong with who we are right now. I don't think there is. But I do believe that there's so much more that we can do and be. And not only will we feel better for having put forth that effort and becoming a even better version of ourselves, not only will we reap that personal satisfaction, but it often winds up in abundance in our lives, in attracting either more opportunities or promotions or advancements, as well as making a difference in the world. And in the end, I think that's what we're here for. I think we're here to grow, to transform our lives, and to heal our world. Preparation, practice, and hard work, I think, are a part of that. Namaste.